If you desire to walk in alignment with your purpose, to live a life of joy, abundance, and fulfillment, you've come to the right place. This is Sarah Locke, and welcome to Purpose Unlocked. Today we're talking about how to become an expert, but more specifically, how to walk in, find, and share your expertise. Because I truly believe that in order to live a fulfilled life, we need to serve those around us. And what easier way to do that than to help people with information and knowledge that we already have? Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, I'm not an expert at anything. And trust me, that could not be further from the truth. And to prove that to you, let's start with the definition of an expert. I just pulled this off of Google, so obviously it's completely true. The person who's an expert is someone who has a comprehensive and authoritative knowledge of or skill in a particular area. So I wanted to dig into that a little more to say, okay, what is authoritative knowledge, right? Because I think of an authority as someone who's like the boss. So let's look at the definition of authoritative, which is able to trust as being accurate, true, or reliable. So, are you someone who has enough knowledge that when they speak to someone about something, other people can trust you and they can trust that what you're saying is accurate, true, and reliable? So that's all an expert is knowing something about a particular skill or something that people need to know about, and then sharing that with them. And I think that we become an expert when we learn a lot about something that is going to help us improve our lives. So I'll give my husband as an example. A lot of people will ask him, especially at the gym, what type of workouts he does, how he gets in the type of shape that he's in, because he's seen as an expert, not because he's a professional trainer, not because he's working with other people, not because this is something that he teaches on a regular basis, simply because he has the proven results of a fit, muscular body, and people trust him that, okay, well, this guy probably knows what he's doing. And what he always does, which I've seen him do multiple times, is he'll usually share the app that he uses. So even though he's seen as the expert, he's giving other people knowledge. Like, this is the app that I use. These are the types of workouts that I do. And this is what has helped me. So he is giving them information, even though he doesn't see himself as the expert. A lot of people do see him that way. And he does know a lot more than the average person does about exercising. So there is something in your life, even if you don't see yourself as the expert, where you've gained a lot of knowledge in an area and you're able to share that knowledge with people. Next, don't fall into the trap of thinking, oh, everybody knows this, or if they wanted to know, they could just Google it. Because the truth of the matter is, most of the time if we Google something, we all know that you're going to get 100 million different results. And there's going to be conflicting evidence on both sides. So for me, this has been in my walk recently, trying to figure out what are the best things I can be doing to prepare for my baby. What is the optimal amount of months that you should be breastfeeding? What are the types of bottles or binkies or pacifiers and things that I should be using with my baby, right? I'm Googling all these things and it stresses me out because there's a million different sources saying a million different things. So if someone already knows you and trusts you, you can easily be seen as the expert because you're someone that has already done the thing that someone else is wanting to do. So for me, that expertise comes from my mother or other people in my family that have had children, or my girlfriends that have recently had children. People are offering me a lot of their advice and things that have and have not worked for them. And to me, they're giving me expert knowledge because this is something that they've done before that I have not. So you don't have to be some highly trained doula or delivery nurse or something like that in order to be giving someone expertise in something that you've done, which is have and feed a baby. Next, part of being an expert is also having gotten really good at knowing what not to do. So for me personally, I don't think that I am an expert at being a landlord or house hunting or real estate investing, right? But I have bought real estate. I have been a landlord. I've had a lot of struggles in that process, and I've learned a lot about what not to do. I learned that if you buy a really old house, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. I learned that if you buy a flipped house, which is an old house that has been, remodeled and repainted, and they put granite countertops in. So some people would call that putting lipstick on a pig, because you're making it look a little bit prettier, but a lot of the underlying problems are still going to be there, and you don't really see them until after you move in, and then you discover all the problems. So even though I am not the Grant Cardone or the Bigger Pockets podcast guys on real estate investing, I still know enough to say, okay, these are the things that you're going to want to look out for. These are things that you're definitely going to want to not do. So again, part of being the expert is just knowing what not to do. And your failures or mistakes are not things that you need to be embarrassed about. They can be things that are really, really helpful to share with other people, especially people that you care about. And then finally, how are we going to get this expertise out there? How are we going to share it with other people? Because that's really where the fulfillment lies. Now, you don't need to be an expert coach. You don't need to set up your own coaching program to teach everyone everything you know about the most recent thing that you've learned about. You could do that, right? You could definitely get into coaching, or you create a podcast. There are so many ways to share your expertise with the world, especially now with social media and all the connections that we have. But it could be something as simple as joining a local group or a local community and sharing some of what you know. Like I said, my husband at the gym will answer people's questions all the time about what muscles this particular workout is working, and other questions like that. So simply sharing your knowledge with the people around you, especially your community, it is going to build that connection. You are going to make friends that way, and you're going to feel so much more fulfilled. It's a lot of fun to share what you know with other people. This isn't bragging. It's not, oh, I have all this experience in this area, And the way that I like to think about that is, if you want to think of where you are as an expert on a scale of 0 to 10, right? The ones and the zeros are like, I've never done this before. I know nothing about this. And then the tens are, the Taylor Swifts, the Grant Cardones, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the people that really know what they're talking about. They've built their empire doing the thing. Where I would fall on, let's say, the real estate thing or the podcast thing. People ask me questions about podcasting too. I would say I'm probably like a 4 or a 5, probably a solid 4, where I don't feel like I know necessarily exactly what is perfect, exactly what I'm doing. I know that I'm very far from being an expert, but I also know that I've come a lot farther than someone that's never done it before. I know that I've had to learn a lot along the way. I know that there's a lot of things that I've researched and tried to figure out and have made mistakes along the way. And, I figured those out, and I've learned a lot. So where are you on that scale? Because I think so many of us fall on that 4 or 5 category where we think, okay, well, I have no room to speak about real estate investing because I'm not these guys with these $1 million portfolios, right? But you know so much more than the average Joe who's never bought a house before. So whatever that is for you, make sure that you're leaning into that expertise and offering someone help on something. Make sure that if you do need absolute professional help, especially if it's something medical, or haircuts. I find a lot of people think that because they've gotten a haircut, they can also cut hair. And I think that we all need to also understand where our expertise does not lie. But for the most part, I'm sure that there are plenty of things in your life that you have gained expertise on that you would be qualified to share with other people. Again, you don't have to be the best of the best influencer level to be able to share your knowledge with people. You can be a normal person just like me and be sharing things that you've learned with other people that you know and love. Okay. The point is to be the authority, which simply means that what you're sharing is true, reliable, and accurate to the best of your abilities. And you are absolutely capable of doing that. So I hope that this has served you. I hope that you share it with people that you love so that they can also walk in their purpose and we can all be sharing our expertise with each other, because how much more wonderful would the world be if we all shared our knowledge in a loving way? Thank you for the precious gift of your time. If you found this helpful, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share with someone you love. Until next time, count your blessings, love yourself, and stay fabulous.